Lawrence Baker and Roy Norris are two American serial killers who in 1978 and 1979 raped and tortured and murdered five teenage girls in the state of California. The two met and befriended each other in a California prison, and there plotted, obsessed over their fantasies of dominating, raping, and then killing teenage girls. Lawrence Bittker was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September 27th in 1940. The unwanted child of a couple who had chosen not to have children, Bittker was placed in an orphanage by his natural mother, but he was adopted by Mr. and Mrs. George Bittker as an infant. Bitker's adoptive father worked in an aircraft factory, which required the family to frequently move around the United States. Throughout Bitker's childhood, Bitker was a lifelong criminal, always in trouble with the law since he was a teenager. He was arrested for various crimes, including auto theft, hit and run, and burglary. Roy and Louis Norris is born in Greeley, Colorado on February 2nd in 1948. Norris conceived outside of wedlock. His parents had married to avoid a social stigma surrounding illegitimate birth at the time. Norris grew up in a normal family, but he was a misfit at the age of 17. From Rodeo Beach to Santa Monica becomes their hunting ground. The two are now on the lookout for their first prey. The two men spot a 16-year-old Lucinda Cindy. On this day, she's walking home from attending a senior high school youth fellowship meeting at the church she attended, St. Andrew Palestinian Church. The two drives ahead of Cindy, and then Norris gets out of the vehicle. As she walks past the van, he grabs and muscles her into the van. Bittker's turn up the radio to drown out her cries. Norris blinds and drags her to their long-hour drive to San Gabriel Mountain. Once there, the two rape and torture Cindy for the rest of the night. Bittker rapes Cindy first, then Norris next. She requests to pray if they're going to kill her. However, Bittker and Norris don't grant her that request. Bittker takes over, turning to his toolbox for the job. He resections a coat hanger around Cindy's neck, and with a pair of vice grips tightened it. He then grabs her body in a shower curtain and throw her off the mountain. On July 5th, 1979, just 2 weeks after the death of Cindy Crawford, Louis Bittker and Roy Norris hunt for the next victim. Driving Pacific Coast Highway, Manhattan Beach, they spot another target, a 18-year-old Andrea Hall. Andrea Hall was a girl from a poor family in Ohio. She came to California to try to better herself. When she went into the van, Bittker was alone in the front seat since he and Norris figured out that it would be less threatening if Andrea knew only one man was in the vehicle. While Andrea took the front passenger seat, Roy Norris was in the back of the van, hiding under the bed. Roy leaped from the hiding position to tackle Andrea to the ground. He tries her up and subdues her into submission. Roy and Bittker then drive back to their secret spots in San Gabriel Mountain and take turns raping her. This time, to relieve her, accident, they take pictures of their victims. Andrea Hall so as to keep her as a trophy. He kills her by jamming a ice pick in her ear, then manually strangles her. Bittaker then throws her body off a cliff not far from where he disposed of Cindy Kraftner. Driving through Rodeo Beach, they spot a 15-year-old Jackie Grimliam and a 13-year-old Leith Lamp trying to get a ride to the beach. Bittaker drives concerns soon grows in the girls as they realize Bittaker is driving away from the beach rather than towards it. Norris hits Leith as she tries to escape as hard as he can with a nylon stock full of BBs, knocking her off. They started wrestling with Jackie. Bittaker smashes her face as hard as he could as he tried to exit. To feel safer, they head back to the mountain. This time, Bittaker had a new idea to relive the moment. He tape records the whole incident with the girls. The rape the girls, then Norris forces Jackie to pretend to be a cousin that he always fantasized. The two decide to kill them. Jackie is first. Bittaker strikes her with an ice pick, then strangles her. Leith tries to get away, but Bittaker gets to her and hits her with a sledgehammer. Then Bittaker manually strangles her, while Norris smashes her in the head with a sledgehammer. 2 more teen lives are thrown away. 2 months later, on Halloween night in 1979, Bittaker and Norris again stroll the streets, this time in San Fernando Valley, looking for yet another victim. They spot a 16-year-old Lenny Ledford. Lenny worked as a waitress at one of the restaurants the baker frequently and may have recognized Bittaker as a familiar face. She accepts the ride and hops into the back of the van. Bittaker and Norris decided not to waste time driving all the way to San Gabriel Mountain and decided they should rape and torture Lenny on the move. Within minutes of getting in, Norris tackles Lenny into the ground of the murder mac. Bittaker then takes over while Norris drives, raping Lenny. The two tape record the rape of Lenny, in which it could be heard. Bittaker's demanding Lenny scream while he constantly strikes her with a hammer on her elbow. Lenny endures hours of brutality. This time, Norris has finished off Lenny, strangles her with a coat hanger around her neck. They then drum her nude body openly on a lawn of a residential home in Hearst Small Beach, which a horrified jogger finds and reports to the police. Norris has been telling prison friend Jimmy Dalton all about the murders. Dalton, through the stories, were lies until Ledford's body was found. He talked to his lawyer and they went to the Los Angeles Police Department with information about Norris. At the trial, both Norris and Bittaker were charged with murder, kidnapping, forcible raping, sexual preservation, and criminal conspiracy. Bittaker was convicted of rape, torture, kidnapping, and murder on February 17, 1981, and sentenced to death. As of February 2008, Bittaker is still on death row, where he still receives mail which is signed using his nickname, Pillars. Bittaker Norris was also sentenced but was spared as life sentence on being executed in return for his testimony against Bittaker. Norris was denied parole in 2009